Hey, and welcome back to season 2 of Namaste, Y'all podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Stephanie Boyce, author, educator, and spiritual seeker on a journey to self-love. Thank you all that made season 1 a success. Let's talk about what's ahead in season 2. This movement is rooted in healing, joy, love, and liberation for all of us. And so in this season, we're going to go even deeper, y'all. Are you ready? We're going to talk about love without ego, solo travel as self-care, peaceful co-parenting. We're going to talk about love, dating, marriage, relationships. We're going to talk about all kind of stuff this season, y'all, okay? The messy, beautiful journey to wholeness and love. That's what this is all about. So, light your candle, grab your tea or your coffee, and settle in because season 2 of the Namaste Y'all podcast is officially underway. Let's go. Hey y'all, and welcome back to the Namaste Y'all podcast. I'm your host, Dr. B. Now today's episode, we're going to be talking about the fine art of letting go. I know, it's a lot. And the big question we're going to really dive into today is, when do we know it's time to fight and when do we know it's time to let it go? And so today, I'm so excited to say this episode was born out of one quote that I saw y'all recently. There was a Zen Proverb. It says, let go or be dragged. Okay? And if you've ever been in a situation where you couldn't let go, and as a result of you not letting go, you got drugged. Whether it was drugged down the street, drug out of your peace, drug out of your mind, drug into your nervous system being dysregulated, drug down to hell, drug into drama, drug into defeat, drug into disillusionment, whatever you got drug into. This episode is for you if you're ready to let go and be free and learn how to flow. So I want to take a second to bring in my very, very special guest. But first, let me set it up. Let me introduce y'all to the special guest for today. Now, this here, Dr. Bernada Baker, is not only just a community counselor and therapist and all of these great things in the world. She does all this magnificent work. But baby, for me, she's been my personal therapist, a lifeline through such big life transitions. And as I am making my way through my healing journey, I like to say she has become almost like my therapist and a life coach and a big sister. And at this point, a friend. And so if you will, please welcome Dr. Baker to Namaste, y'all. Open up your hearts and minds and welcome my guest. Hey, Dr. Baker, how you doing?
Hi, everybody. Namaste, y'all. Such an honor to be with you today, Dr. Boyce.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to have you because, we've been doing this work, Dr. Baker.
We've been doing this work.
I had your first season, and you were amazing, and I'm so blessed to have you to share because I share my life experiences, but I think it's so important to have the trained and degreed and certified professionals to come in because you get to talk to so many people in their journeys and at different points in their lives. And so your perspective is so new and fresh and not just my little experience. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Let's jump in. Okay. So when we talk about this Zen proverb, I saw it on Instagram. I forwarded it to you and I said, this is a whole episode right here. I mean, I know if don't nobody else has some experience with let go or be dragged, it's a therapist that's talking to people and transitioning through all these big phases in life. So I thank you so much for joining me. So let's start out with this. Why do you think it is so difficult for people to navigate like just this fine art of letting go? Or what does that even mean to you?
Letting go, I think it is a very complex concept, if you will. And I think also we've never been taught how to let go, right? And so if we've never been taught how to do something, of course it seems foreign and scary to us. And so when we have these big dreams, we have these visions of how we think life is supposed to be and what it should be like. And oftentimes a lot of things don't pan out like that. And so when you discuss the concept of letting go, that provokes anxiety and everything else surrounding it. And then it messes with your identity, right? If you have had this image, and people have this perception of you and this life that you're living, when it's time for you to release something that's going to, alter the image that you've presented to the world and the story that you've kept up for yourself, That's a hard concept to really embrace. But I think mainly we have not been taught how to let go. And so the art of letting go is something that's to be learned.
That's so important because I think what we do learn is how to fight. Like we learn how to
Oh, we
be a
learn how to fight or
fighter.
flight. That's what we're used to, accustomed to.
We're so used to fighting. And like I think for me, if you've been like trained on how to fight and nobody taught you how to just let go and flow. I remember, so
Mhm,
you know I pick up a word for every year. Last year my word was
mhm,
flow. This year my
mhm,
word was alignment. But baby, when I
mhm.
tell you that word flow, I don't know what I thought I was praying for. But I feel like God and the universe was both like, okay, you want to learn how to flow? Give me
Mhm.
that. Like,
Let's flow. Let's go.
don't take my things. Don't take my
Right,
toys,
right.
please. I want my
Mhm,
toys. But
mhm,
I can see in so many ways how, especially when we're talking about these ideas about creating a soft life and
mhm,
wanting to have this gentler lifestyle, you cannot hold in tandem this ideology about I'm going to fight and grapple and grab and have and
mhm,
never, and then also want to have a soft life. So I like to say I think God is the originator of the soft life era. Like everybody think
mhm,
this is new, but I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna give you this scripture and I want you to be able to tell me your thoughts. So, Psalm 23, I said this is the original version of God explaining the soft life. It says, y'all
mhm.
listen to me. I'm going to read this and help you understand how God was trying to give us the game. We missed it. It said, the
We
Lord is
missed
my
it.
shepherd. I shall not want. I have no lack. He's my shepherd. That means he's leading me. So the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. It said he makes me just lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And even if I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I don't fear any evil because he's with me. His rod and his staff, they're comforting me. He prepared a table before me in the
Mhm,
presence of my enemies. He anointed my head with oil and my cup is overflowing. Like all of these
mhm.
all of these descriptions, like when I'm reading this, I'm like, we learned this in one context, but now in this context of trying to create a softer life, I'm like, look at all of these ways God has been trying to teach me in my life by way of the Bible. Like, chill, sis. Like, relax. Like, hold on,
Mhm.
be still, sit down. I got you. But if you don't really internalize it or understand it in that way, I feel like you could just spend a whole life fighting and grappling and grabbing and just, oh, Dr. Baker, it's just a lot.
And do you know how exhausting that is? The fight, grappling, trying to hold on, being drug, all of that.
It's a
And
lot.
it really boils down to surrendering,
Oh,
right? In the last 2 years, if
we're
you
not going to get
will,
to the
since I've
S word already. We at the S word already.
surrender. You got to surrender. If you're going to let go, you have to surrender to whatever the outcome might be. And I think that oftentimes we're so accustomed to being in control, right?
Mm.
I like you, was able to map out my educational journey, right? So I knew my freshman year, my first semester of my freshman year, that
Mm-hmm.
you would one day be calling me Dr. Baker. I
Okay,
proclaimed that.
now,
So I knew
okay.
the steps that I had to take
Mm-hmm.
in order to get to that place. When you are letting go, you don't know what's going to happen, right?
Oh,
You got to
that's it.
start afresh. You got to let the vision go of what you had. You got to relinquish some dreams that you just were waiting to come to fruition.
Mm.
You got to surrender, and you have to surrender and knowing that there really is something better that's coming once you release what you're holding on so tightly
Mm.
to. And then when you learn the art of not being attached to things, not
Oh.
people, not materialistic possessions,
Mm.
like none of that belongs to us, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a materialistic, a
Oh.
job, it's not ours to keep. When we leave this, when we depart from this earth, we can't take any of it with us. So we're
That's so
being
true.
forced to learn the art of detaching earlier on in our lives.
Ooh. And that surrender, that word, I remember, I believe it was Marianne Williamson that kind of laid out the definition of surrender in a way that made sense to me in terms of me understanding why it was so difficult. And she said something about surrender. We feel like it's a like a loss. Like we feel like it's like if I surrender something, like I lost. Like I didn't fight hard enough. Or I wasn't good enough. Or I was it's like surrender is like you just quit. But she's like, no, surrender isn't about quitting. Surrender is about releasing the expectation you have about the outcome of a thing. Like you could still have in your mind about what you want something to be. Oh, I have this vision, or I always wanted this, or I always wanted that. But you have to relinquish control. Like, hey, however it's going to turn out, like, it's not going to be in my control. And I be thinking about it like driving a car. I'm like, when things happen, I think initially, like, I had to learn. I have been learning the art of surrender, because you first start, things get bumpy, you want to clench on the wheel and be like, hey, go this way. Hey. You want to kind of come in stronger. But I'm learning that, like, when things start getting bumpy, like, I'm like, oh, hold on, God. Like, I must be on the wrong road. It's getting bumpy over here. Like, let me get my hands off of it and almost redirect so that he can redirect, because certain things, they just end up being out of my control. So this is the question I have for you. It's the driving question for today. How do we know then when we should be fighting and when it's time to let go? Because it's a fine art, I think, of letting go. But before we dive into helping somebody understand how, I think that's the biggest conundrum, because sometimes aren't things worth fighting for? And if so, when do you do that? And when do you just throw your hands up and be like, okay, God, it's above me now?
I think all the love songs, Dr. Boyce tells us that you're supposed to fight, right?
And
That
get
you
drugged.
can't breathe if you let go, right? That life ain't gonna
You
be the
can't
same.
eat.
I'm not gonna be able to breathe again. I just can't live without you.
Never.
When I think about all the songs that we used to sing, I
They
ever
were
want to
so
find myself
toxic.
singing songs like that again.
I will never breathe again.
Breathe again.
We're gonna
And
die?
so
We're gonna die.
so back to your question.
Yeah.
I think that we know. I think that if it doesn't feel good to your soul, if it's not a hell yes, then it's a hell no. For me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the type of person that there is no in between. There's no gray area with me. So either we all in or we not. And if it's not working, why do we continue to try to fit a peg into a square shape, right? It's not working. We
Mm-hmm.
don't want to know, right? We
Mm-hmm.
don't want to know. And I think that as humans,
Mm-hmm.
we are notorious for ignoring the signs, for going against the grain.
Okay.
If you're driving in the wrong direction and it's not going to get you closer to your goal, is it in
Right.
alignment with
Right.
what you say you want? Is it in alignment? How does it make your nervous system feel? Is your nervous system triggered? Those are the real questions that we need to be asking. And those are the
Yeah.
real areas of our lives that we need to be checking in with
Mm-hmm.
to determine. I honestly, Dr. Boyce, don't think that it's that deep.
Yeah, I think that the biology of it, what you're saying, is important, because we've also, I think in the tradition, I was raised in Black church, I think there was not enough emphasis put on, or almost the opposite emphasis put on, listening to our
Mhm.
bodies. Like, I have
No.
gotten so in tune with myself, and I know my practice of yoga and meditation and prayer, coupled with my breath work,
Mhm.
like, your body will respond. And
Mhm.
this is, we're going to get to practical tools later, but when I start to, like, trust the intuitive nature of my body, something is happening inside. Whether that's beep, 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 doo, 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 kick, 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 kick.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
when
Mhm.
things are happening, that's like, it's really starting to get in tune with that, I think, to your point.
Mhm.
But sometimes, though, how do we know when something is a season? So I'm going to give you an example. So, because you're the therapist. I had a person I know from high school reach out to me recently to just kind of
Mhm.
be like, and this is not the first time this has happened, because people know I have walked the road of divorce. They will,
Mhm.
like, in a private moment, whether it's a DM
Mhm.
or pull me aside at an event or something, and be like, so how did you know, like, that you should,
Mhm.
like, like, I'm gonna be able to look at them and be like,
Mhm.
listen to their
It's your
story or
time.
listen to the
Right, right,
thing and be
right.
like, do it. Like, I'm gonna get like, hey man, I don't know your life, I don't know that
Mhm.
journey. You and that person, and this is the thing that's so tricky about it. Only
Mhm.
you and that person are in that bed together. Only you and that person are in that house
Mhm.
together. So you could sit up
Mhm.
and talk to me for 4 hours about what happened in your situation, and I still could
Mhm.
never have a full enough context to be able to
Mhm.
advise you. Like, I
Mhm.
tell people all the time, I recommend that you pray and that you go get you some therapy, and
Mhm.
that you exhaust every possible opportunity. But to the point that you made, I think it would take both people being willing to do those things. And then that's
Mhm.
where I'm like, you should go exhaust all possibilities. And now if it's a person that's like, but I'm with a person that won't come along for us exhausting the possibilities, then I'm like, well, go pray and figure it out. I don't know. So
Right, right,
that's
right.
where I get stuck, because I'm like, I don't know. But like,
Mhm.
It's tricky.
It's
So,
tricky. It's tricky. And there is no cookie cutter situation. There is no cookie cutter solution for every situation. I think that, but I also think that again, you have to go back to what a self really desires. Like, is this really in alignment with what it is that you desire for your life? Are you making these decisions based upon somebody else? Are you making these
mm-hmm.
decisions based upon your children, the image, the facade? What's your why? And so I think that when we tap into our why, that will make you help you make better informed decisions as it relates to the decisions that you have to make. I do understand how people, stay together for children, right? You
Mm-hmm.
get to make those choices.
Mm-hmm.
God gives us his permissive will. He's not going to force us to do anything. You have to decide. You have the option to decide what it is that you're willing to tolerate, and if you want to start over. Sometimes starting over, whatever you're releasing, whether that's a relationship, a marriage, a job,
Yes.
a concept, a pathology, building yourself up, being torn down and having to rebuild in a manner in which you've never been had to do before, that becomes overwhelming and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
frightening for us. And so, familiarity breeds contempt, and most people are much more comfortable
Mm-hmm.
staying in their familiar spaces. And so the
Yeah.
art of letting go is not one that is embraced, because you have to really take on a whole new
Mm.
identity.
Yeah, and I think even within though, we're talking about relationships specifically, but I'm thinking like even sometimes you might decide you're going to stay in a marriage or in a relationship or whatever,
Hmm.
and you might still have to let go of whatever you thought,
Hmm.
whatever idea you had
Hmm.
about who that person was or what your
Hmm.
relationship would be. You might have to go through the process of grieving the loss of that and letting that go to
Hmm.
say, well, this is
Hmm.
what we actually have, this is what we actually
Hmm.
are, and
Hmm.
this is how we forge a path forward. And I think that's important, but not even just within relationships. I want to pivot because I think a big part of the work that I had to do with also with my parental relationships. And there are a
Hmm.
lot of people who, when they talk about family members, not just parents,
Hmm.
but like whether it's
Hmm.
siblings or like cousins,
Hmm.
whoever, they can't
Everybody.
consider the idea of letting go of even people, like in
Hmm.
their families. And I'm like, no,
Hmm.
like that work of
Hmm.
being like, if
That's hard.
I have to let go of the idea that I'm going to ever have this. Claire
Hmm.
Huxtable is not my mama.
Hmm. Hmm.
I got friends on Facebook who they might do this and that with their mamas. They might go here and there and everything. I might be like, oh man, I always wanted to. That's outside of my control. And so when it
Hmm.
comes to the letting go, I think most people that reached out, they had stuff about relationships, but I'm like, but no, let's just pull this on out. This thread goes through a whole lot of different fabrics. You know what I'm saying? And so
Hmm.
whether it's a job, whether it's a familial relationship, a friendship that has run its course, like whatever it is, I think there's some
Hmm.
practical kind of tools we can share that can help people navigate just honoring your truth first,
Hmm.
that I need to let this go.
Hmm.
Maybe you have come through the season of fighting and you tried and you put into the,
Hmm.
and whatever's happened on the other side, whether it's a job or a friend or a family member, like it's still, despite your efforts, I like to say it's above me now. I did what I
Hmm.
could.
Hmm.
Anybody I walk away from, they're gonna know I gave everything that I could in that
Hmm.
situation.
Make
And
it
then
work.
now it's time to let go. So how would you advise people when it comes to surrender? What are some tools you would say? Where should we start in terms of how to do it? They like, okay, I need to do it. Y'all done told me it's not in alignment.
Right,
It's in
right,
my
right.
body. Now, what do I do?
Well, I think number one, you have to breathe, right? Breathing is imperative, because when you decide to surrender, you're deciding to release something that you probably, identified with for a large portion of time. And so being gracious with ourselves, I think that society has empowered us to apply a lot of unnecessary pressure to
Mm,
ourselves. And so, oh my goodness, it's
so
so
true.
unnecessary. Like, you don't have to carry that weight. Why are you
Mm,
carrying that? Like, why are you grappling with having to maintain an image or having to maintain a status quo or
mm,
having to follow in on the same trajectory that your family? Like, you don't have to. You get to decide what this life looks like for you. Also, I think that again, we've never been taught to be selfish. And so when you let go, you really have to tap into self and consider yourself. It's so much easier to consider everybody else. And so
Mm,
you have to take some really concentrated time to put the focus and the emphasis on you.
mm,
And, you know, as a mom, and as so many the hats that we wear and the roles that we play, it's much
mm-hmm,
easier for me to consider you before it is for me to consider myself.
mm,
So I think you have to take a look in the mirror and really make a commitment to yourself to consider what is in your best interest. I tell my daughter all the time, my 8-year old, don't tell me about the problem. Tell me about the solution.
mm,
And so I think when we think about the art of letting go, like, don't talk to me about why you can't let go. Because if what you're holding on to, if it's not serving you, then there needs to be a solution that you can implement in an effort to let it go.
yeah.
But we fear what's on the other side. We fear the unknown. We fear, walking alone or
Mm-hmm.
being different or standing out. It's so much easier to fit in. And so you really just have to consider what it is that you want for this brand new season of your life, and consider what works for you, because what works for you before might not work for you in this season of your life, and that's
Ooh,
okay too.
that's so true. That's so true. And a big part for me has been really like leaning into my prayer life, like
Mm-hmm,
my lifeline. That's my lifeline. Like that's my connection to God. And when I
mm-hmm,
have a moment, like I told you, that I think maybe the last like time I really had to like a big surrender moment in my journey, where I took a month to just be like, hey, God, I'm pretty sure I'm at an impasse here and I'm going to let this
mm-hmm,
go. And
mm-hmm,
I took time, I'm like, hey, for the next 30 days, I'm going to
mm-hmm,
I really want to be clear about this. And I really asked God to just make it clear and show me, like in the next 30 days. And in the meantime, I'm going to take a time out. Like I'm going to take a
mm-hmm,
pause and I'm going to ask you to like make it very crystal clear to me before I
mm-hmm,
move this way that this is the way I need to go.
mm-hmm,
Because I think that's another thing. Like in our own minds, sometimes we might be like, hey, boom, boom. You know me.
mm-hmm.
I'll take the pin out the grenade and blow it up like, hey,
Right, right, right.
abort mission. And so it's like, I think that prayer part has really been a tool for me and my kid to, because otherwise I
Mm-hmm.
think sometimes we can maybe prematurely be like, hey,
I quit.
make
Mm-hmm,
decisions when maybe there's still something there. But I like
mm-hmm,
to say God knows the full picture and we only know part of the picture. So I like to
mm-hmm,
ask, like, can you make this very, very clear? Don't let me miss it.
mm-hmm.
So,
And show
yes.
me. And sometimes we're shown what we don't want to see, right?
Mm,
We're showing what we don't want to see, and we have to make some hard decisions. Making decisions like letting go is hard, it's difficult. And I think we have to be willing to acknowledge that it's difficult, acknowledge that this is scary, acknowledge that, I feel like my back is up against the wall. I'm uncertain about what's next, and be okay with that. You don't
right.
have to have all the answers. You don't have to have it all figured
Mm,
out. And I think somewhere along the way, we have convinced ourselves that we have to, be as we have to be as put together
mm,
as we show up.
yeah.
It's not always like this. I'm sure you and I did a little bit of, applying a little bit of makeup or lip gloss or something,
Mm-hmm.
washing our face or something to show up like this morning,
Right,
right?
right.
You have to do something in order to get to that outcome that you're looking for.
That's
And
so true.
yeah.
And I think I think what also makes the transitions, especially through those seasons where you have to let go, whether it's letting go of a job or a vision you have, like whatever it is you have to let go of. I think also being connected to community is so important. It's
That's
practical
important.
too, because I know for anything that God has taken out of my hand, like when I tell you He's
Hmm.
put something else in my hand, and
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
might not be, you might have been like, oh, but I want that.
Hmm.
It's like,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
not that, but
Hmm. I
this.
have something bigger. I have
It's like
something
it's
bigger.
something else. Come on over here and sit down
Yeah.
somewhere. And then it's
Mhm.
like I just feel like I'm just blessed to have people around me. But also, I think this is the practical piece, though. I think you have to be vulnerable enough to be
Let people
open
know.
to people.
Hmm.
I have
Hmm.
my people that I call, and I'll be like, listen here. Like
That's what's
between
going on.
you and my best friends and my loctician that has to be with me for 4 hours a month, um, I think I have enough people around me that I have entrusted with my vulnerability to where I can be honest and have no shame about whatever is happening. And I don't care if I feel like, oh man, I really messed up now, guys. I can come and like open it up, pour it out. And I know that community is going to be there to be like, we got, like, what do you need? We got you, like, and to be there. And I feel like that's really the biggest gift, that like, come what may, people in and out. It's not about particular people. It's about God provides what I need. And I've seen, like, so now in this journey, Dr. Baker, when I tell you anybody can come or go out of my life, and I will say, come what may, whatever my lot, God has taught me to say it as well. Because I'm just in the place now where I'm like, I've had seasons where I'm out of relationship with my mama. Seasons where I haven't spoken to my father. Seasons where I had to walk the road of divorce. Seasons where I saw friends that were in a circle go out of circle and that way. And like, come what may, I think at the end of the day, I just sat up one day and I was like, okay, I don't think it's a person in this world whose presence in or out of my life can break me. And I love my friends and I love my family. You know, I love people, and you know how I love Dr. Baker. I be loving on people very good.
You know, I very, very good.
But I look around and I'm like, oh, I see what the lesson is. I know some people that be like, if they don't talk to their mama every day or just 3 times a day or whoever the people are. And now I'm to the point where I'm like, I love the people. And I connect with the people. I love community. But come or go, whoever, I'm going to be okay.
Whoever.
Yeah. I feel like the journey had me like, no, surely I couldn't. No. And then you get to a point in the journey where you're like, you mean to tell me I'm going to be okay?
Next?
Like,
what's next?
Inner peace preserved.
But you know what? I think it all goes back to self, Dr. Boyce. I really do. I think that you have to get to a point where you're like, I'll be good no matter what. Like, no matter what, because I'm attached to my higher being, my God, whoever you serve, whoever you're surrendered to, like, he's holding me. He got me. So if I'm letting it go, then that just means that something else is better, is on the way. I told you, I was share with you that I was at an event honoring Mara Brocker Keel last night, the creator of Netflix current, Forever, and the Girlfriends, the Game, all of that. And she was sharing how she didn't get a chance to finish Girlfriends. She didn't get a chance to finish Being Mary Jane.
No.
She didn't get a chance to finish. It was something else that she didn't get a chance to finish. And for her to have Look Forever, that's out now on Netflix, and they've just gotten renewed for their 2nd season.
Yay.
She talked about the art of detachment, and she said it's really just about trust. Like, we have expectations of dreams of what it could be. And of course, again, I reiterate the fact that we would all like to see it through, but you never know the stepping stone, for why you're having to release something and what's in store. When you're holding on to stuff, when you don't clean out your closet, when you don't do no spring cleaning, when you don't take out the trash, when you don't clean out the refrigerator, right, you don't have space for anything new. And so the shifting of the guards, you literally have to release it and trust that your assignment here is complete. I tell my daughter all the time, like, when people come and go, we interact with a lot of people. She'll be like, Mommy, are they still talking to you? And I'm like, baby, I don't know. Like, whatever time and space that we share with those people, that's what it was. Like, we have no expectations. That everybody's not created to be here for a lifetime. And I think somewhere along the line, we've adapted that concept that people are going to be around forever, that you're going to get this job and you're going to work it for 30 years. And I think for many people, it represents failure. It's not a loss. It's a win. It's a win because you had whatever you had for this season, you completed the assignment, and now you're on to the next. And so I think that when you get into a place where you're free to break generational patterns of having to, keep up the facade and wear the mask and make it work just because, you're free. And I think, it's part of the human condition, like, to experience loss, and it's not a failure, and you can be supported through it. It's transition. It's not even loss, but you're walking into something new.
And I wonder how much, listening to you say that, I wonder how much does our involvement and our presence in social media probably make it even worse. Like, I feel terrible. Like if there's a time where we have like everything is so public. Let's say you do have, you know, a relationship or you have this, like whatever it is, and it's become a part of your identity. It's like, it's who you are, whether it's a certain job or certain position or like whatever, however you've positioned yourself and whatever story you've told the world about you that you've upheld. It's like to have that picked apart or like taken away or having to release that for a lot of people, I feel like makes it even, it makes it two things. One thing is happening in terms of your real lived experience. And then there's another thing happening in terms of how people perceive you and what people think about you. You know what I mean? And the image that you've created and held up and propped up. And I think freedom comes when this happens, Dr. Baker.
Yeah.
The freedom that I want, that I'm going to have for the rest of my life, that I got right now, is in this. And that what my life is. Now, granted, even having a podcast and being active on socials the way that I do, like, I share about this percentage of my life. I'm going to be honest with you. But what I care about is that what I share is real and in relationship to, like, what actually is happening in my authentic life and who I actually am and what you actually see. But I think the disconnect here, people have a hard time letting go, especially when you have held up this thing. And then now when you go to bed at the end of the night and you laying down next to that person, you done made these videos like y'all black love goals. And then when you lay down, you don't like this person. Or that person don't come home to you and you know they out being unfaithful, disloyal, whatever your actual life is. When these two things, when you don't have integrity, when these two things don't coexist like this, then I feel like that's the biggest and that's the most hard. And I'm saying it because I had to walk it. You know what I'm saying? That some people, it's like, but you want your picture, you know, you want your picture right there, but it's like, but more than anything, what I want is to live a life that's true and that where authentic peace and joy and love reside.
Integral life.
Listen, where I told somebody, I was out with somebody one time and had one of them screen protectors on their phone, and I'm not mad at it, you can have it. But I don't have one. And I was just like, something had happened and I was showing the picture and then the person started swiping on my phone. And I said, now that could be problematic because it's my privacy. I said, but you know what else about me? Ain't a thing you swipe. Come on, let me show you something. Keep swiping. Ain't gonna be a thing in this phone that I'm ashamed of because this life that I'm living, it's all integrated, baby. And whatever I told you was true, it's gonna be true. Now you might get your feelings hurt and you keep swiping in there, but whatever it is, it's gonna be true. It's gonna be true. And I think that's the goal. But it took letting go of trying to control everything and learning that the only thing I can control is my breath. Like in any situation, I told you I got this legal, like I have a lawsuit situation that's been going on, and I can't speak about the case because we casing. But what I can say is things are happening, and my attorney will contact me and give me updates. Dr. Baker, there was a time where I would have been like, I'm finna get active. Start clicking on the computer. What did you do? And I listen. Dr. Baker, he called me. He give me an update on the case, and I say, okay, all right. Do you need anything from me? And he'll tell me usually no. He'll tell me what he's doing next and da-da-da-da. And when I tell you my inner peace feels like I take a box breath. And so this is another practical tool. I don't want to miss it for anybody that's listening. For me, if you haven't done any work on breath work, it's worth looking up, y'all. But for me, when I get into a situation where my anxiety tries to come up, I do a box breath. That's 4 seconds on the inhale. You hold it at the top for 4 seconds, 4 seconds on the exhale, and then you hold it at the bottom for 4 seconds. So kind of like a box. I will just stop and sit. I could be in my car. If anybody was inside my head, they would be like, what is happening? Because I might have just stopped, gotten off the phone, had a situation, had a conversation, whatever it is, and just immediately stopped moving and just start breathing and just allow my body to come back and to regulate and to realize, hey, Stephanie, hey, all that, that ain't nothing I can control. And so I have to surrender my desire to want to control and fix and go, and because it'll just wear me out, Dr. Baker. And you know, I used to be exhausted, and then it make me eat fat stuff, and then I'd be sad about that. Okay, so another practical tool I really want to get into is therapy. Because, you know, there's a whole generation that feels like therapy is for crazy people. I feel like we've kind of normalized, you know, as the millennials, we kind of normalized therapy a little bit, but I would say for me, what therapy does is it helps me to identify the patterns because I'm just living my life according to however I'm living my life. But therapy almost gives me opportunity. Like if I was working with a coach and I was on a team, the coach would allow us to stop, have a timeout, come to the side, and look at the X's and O's. Now, here's what's going on, and here's what you did, and here's what you say you want to do. Because another thing about therapy, Dr. Baker, I feel like you don't tell me what to do. Like, some people feel like, I'm going to go to therapy, they're going to fix me, they're going to tell me what to do. I'm like, no, my therapist don't tell me what to do, but she helps me work through. Stephanie, if this is who you want to be, and this is what you believe, and this is what you do, how do we get from here to here? It ain't because she told me. It's because this is what I want to be, a better version of myself. So when we talk about the practical use of therapy, what do you say to people in terms of when they're thinking about letting go and like being a better version of themselves, or like whatever it is, about the importance of therapy and how often and like how?
So I posted a quote this morning on social media, and it said, people who need therapy don't go to therapy, their victims do.
I saw that.
Right? The children say clock that, as the young people say clock that. And so said that to say that oftentimes, the people who need therapy are not the people that's signed up to, that has a session on their calendar, right? Because they don't think they need therapy. The truth of the matter is we all need to be in therapy. We all need to be talking to somebody. And really, it's just a third party who can help you, an outside partner who can walk with you and help you kind of sort through all of the many thoughts and things that you have going on. I tell my clients all the time, like, if you could live in it, surely I could live out of it. I'm here to support you in whatever decisions you make. And there's no judgment. We listen and we don't judge. And so I think oftentimes people feel like, it has to be some kind of major catastrophe, or they have to have it all together in order to get into therapy. And that's just one of the biggest, misconceptions that we have. We all need a therapist. Like, you feel better once you get it out. People are emotionally constipated. You have so much stuff, and we're trying to deal with stuff from present day as well as our past. Most people have not dealt with the things from their past. My niche is childhood trauma and grief. So a lot of my clients that I work with, they're dealing with trauma from 20 plus years ago of things that were never resolved with their parents and whoever, but their parents are not in therapy. My clients are not, I have some clients who are over 60, but the majority of the parents who need to be in therapy, they're in therapy.
Yeah.
And so I think we just have to be super intentional about breaking the stereotypes that we have. The society has put out that you got to be crazy or mental health is not as important. It's important. Now, if something is going on with me physically, I'm going to go to the doctor. So if my emotions and my mind is just in a state of frenzy, why wouldn't I tap in to talk to somebody?
That's so true. That's so true.
If I'm sorting through something that I don't really want to confide in my friends, why would I not go to a trusted professional where I can, not lay my burdens down, but I can take off the mask and be honest with what it is that I'm growing through. And in my line of work, I feel like I'm a companion for my clients. Like, I am here to walk with you. We're going to walk through this. We're going to cry through this. We're going to laugh through this. I'm going to support you through this. And ultimately, we're going to get through it.
Yeah.
And so I think the art of community, having support is important as well. Get through it. Sit where you are. Feel it. Cry through it. Laugh through it. Be angry through it.
But Dr. Baker, the other thing about you is it's almost like you're collecting at this point longitudinal data on me. It's like the data points are growing and growing over the years because we got like we got years in the game now. And what I feel like is similar to my long friendships, where we can look back and connect some dots where it's like, because the things that are happening in our lives are not single occurrences, Dr. Baker, and you know this, but we feel like, oh, okay, I had a situation with a person or a family member or a boss at a job or like whatever, and this is what happened, and we talk about things or conflicts or whatever, like they're happening in a silo, but it's like, baby girl, like this and that dot and this dot is all connected, but for us, we're having a lived experience. But when I talk to you, Dr. Baker, you might connect 3 dots in 30 minutes. You might be like, and isn't that similar to dot dot dot? I'm like, what you mean? What you mean? Is what now? Who in the what now? Well, now I guess. Well, maybe, yeah. Well, it's just the same way a coach would be about about how you play the game. Like, we're playing the game of life in the same way that I'm gonna have my doctor, like you said, my doctor check my physical body. Like, when I check in with you, I can get off a session when I tell you I feel the bag that I put down before I came in that session, because I'll be like, girl, let me tell you, I come into the session with my bag be full. And then we spend our time together just pulling everything out the bag, like, and then that, and then, oh, did I tell you this? And then that, and then this, and then I pour it all out. But right now, what I'll say, Dr. Baker, on the practical piece is I'm now seeing my therapist once a month. But when I was in the thick of untangling some things and the bottom fell out of my life and all this, I was on a once a week regimen.
You were and committed.
There was times I might have did 2 times.
And it was grimy.
It was grimy. Hard work, y'all. When I tell you, coming out the session, needing a nap and then needing a journal about the session.
Don't schedule anything after your session because you're going to be emotionally exhausted, drained.
People don't want to do that, though. That's the hard part.
They don't want to do that kind of work.
You have to open it up.
That's the problem.
Ooh, Dr. Baker, that's the thing.
And scaffolding and taking out all the infection and all of that, and then patching you back together. People don't want to do that work. And you have to decide what you want to commit to, right? We put our money where we value the commitment. And so
I eat $150 easy. I go to a restaurant.
I love me a good Louis Vuitton bag, right? $150 is a snack. Okay.
A couple meals.
In this current climate, $150 is a snack, some ice cream.
No, seriously.
Bella, take this $150 and get you some ice cream. And so I mean, really, so it's about what you value. Do you feel like being in therapy is going to add value to you? And really, are you ready for somebody to be a mirror for you and to hold you accountable to what it is that you say you want to do? Are you really ready to do that healing work? Are you really ready to talk about the blockages that you have? Are you really ready to talk about the inner turmoil that you're dealing with? Are you really ready to come to terms with the fact that although your parents were good parents, they weren't good enough? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes their best was not good enough. Like, are you willing to accept and really deal with the reality that you're not operating at your maximum capacity, or that you need to make some better decisions, or a better turn, or be more consistent? There are a lot of things that oftentimes we don't want to face with ourselves. And so being in a relationship with a healthy therapist, a good therapist, somebody that's going to hold you accountable, run from that.
And when I tell you, it's a life-changing experience, because what I know is, though, that you have to be committed to the work. It's one thing to come and to talk about stuff, and it's another thing to say, now after I finish this, now I know I got work to do, and that's not easy. But I think I'm grateful to you to have you as a mirror, because I know when I think about where I'm going in my trajectory and the things that God is going to use me for, I know I feel like there's only a certain level that I can get to until I do certain work. There's certain things I can't see, because if you're being elevated, it's just quite naturally the way elevation works. Like, I stay on the 16th floor of a building. If you are on floor number 2, it's not that you have any ill will or anything spiteful or anything, whatever. It's just whatever I can see on 16, you just might quite naturally, you cannot see on floor 2. And it's like, if the objective is elevation, for me, a big part of that work with you has been, can you surrender and let go of things on floor 2 if you want to get to floor 18? Because I think the tricky part is, we can get to floor 16 and feel like, well, there's some people at floor 2, so clearly I'm doing good. I'm doing a good job. I made it floor 16. I mean, you should see where I came from.
Right.
But the thing is, like, I done enough. Like, I mean, hey, we're chilling now. But the thing is, if you know, like, but what about floor 25? What would be what would the view be from 25 if I'm already at 16, but I'm not at 2, but and then, like, well, what kind of person would I need to be able to get the view at 25? What would I need to let go of? What would I need to pick up? And I think that's the work. And for me, that has been about, now, how do I take better care of myself so that I can be used by the Creator? And I think that's been the beautiful work that I've been able to get into with you. And you've been such a masterful guide.
Oh, I definitely count it indeed an honor and a privilege to not only work with yourself, but my other clients as well, because it's very sacred space, if you will, right? I feel like I am the keeper of the secrets. I am the keeper of the things that, my clients share with me concerning their journey that they don't want to share with anybody else. And so it's a very trusted space of work, and I don't take it for granted. And I think when you're in this line of work, there's something in your mind, in my training and my skill set, where I just have copious notes about so many things,
Yeah,
right?
because
You
you
could
be
tell me
just
something and
pulling stuff out the vault, like, oh,
I'm
like
like,
such and
yeah,
such saying names. I'll be like, hey, we don't say his name.
yeah, was that so and so?
Hey,
Yeah, because I remember we talked about that. And so I
hey.
do that with my friends as well. And my friends are like, I have one friend in particular, she's like, you're dangerous. And I'm like, I'm a therapist and a really good
And it's
therapist. I
confidential
ask the right
information.
question. It's confidential information.
Yeah.
And it, I'm just and then I'm present. Like so many people are not present. So the fact that I
Mm,
can recall the details of whatever it is that you've shared with me in comparison to everything else that everybody has shared with me,
mm,
find you a therapist that feels like home.
mm,
Find you a therapist that feels like safe and sacred space that that you can show up and your nervous system is going to feel calm and relaxed, and you're going to walk away feeling exhausted but
yeah.
refreshed,
Yeah.
all in the same breath. And so, but my last thing about this thing of therapy, this journey of therapy, and this commitment is you really have to make a decision about how honest you are. Oh, how honest you're willing to be with yourself,
Mm,
because oftentimes people shy away from the mirror when we don't want to see our flaws. And so typically people stay out of committed therapeutic relationships because we don't want to see what's going to be revealed. And so when you get to the point where you've hit rock bottom and you're like,
mm.
look, I can't go any further and I really need to deal with the matters of my heart and the pathologies that I've grappled with for so long, when you're tired, you get tired. And
Yeah.
so some people, there are three levels of intervention: primary, secondary, and tertiary. Some people jump in on, first level, primary. Others want to wait until they get to the stage 4 of cancer of some sort, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then jump in on the tertiary level. And oftentimes, you so far gone, and then your work is even the more intense because you
Mm,
waited so late. And
yeah.
so as a society, we didn't grow up knowing about mental health or, it being a top priority
Right.
and therapy. And so we're already behind,
Yeah.
we're already behind the timeline
Mm-hmm.
of doing the work. And so we have to expedite the process and maybe, surrender booking trips to Bali and Japan and everywhere
Oh,
else that we're going, and book a trip to book a session with your therapist.
book a session and I'm gonna link the information for mine below. I recommend. I stay recommending you to some. As a matter of fact, I ought to get a special at some point. But the amount of people I
Right.
stay recommending, I'd be like, well, here, let me tell you something. I got somebody for you. Let me help you out. Hey, just do a consultation. Start there and see. Because I think you interview people. That's what I did when I got
You
ready
do.
to
It's
get
like
with you.
dating.
It's
Finding a
like
therapist
dating.
is really like dating.
I
Like you
did
really have to
consultations.
see
Mm-hmm.
if it's a good relationship. I might work for you, but I might not work for somebody else. And
Yeah.
it's okay. I might not be your cup of tea.
Right.
So you have to find a therapist that, is in alignment with what
Right.
you're looking for. But no, I give major shout out to my clients in Dallas because I have a population of clients in the Dallas area who are committed and loyal. And I thank you for all the referrals, Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Boyce.
It was a mosquito. Okay, it was a mosquito coming straight for my.
What are you over there fighting?
It was a mosquito coming straight for me. I was like, oh Lord. Okay, so I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come back.
But I have clients that I've worked with for over the past 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I
That's
just,
beautiful.
I think that speaks volume to my work and my investment
Yeah,
in people and the experiences that they've
we
had.
gonna
And
keep
so
recommending you too because life be life, and I'm gonna say this,
life be
uh,
life.
because I think everything about our human experience is around our purpose work, and knowing what your purpose work is, what your gifts are, what you're called to do in this lifetime. I feel like if that's the purpose, all the other things that are happening are just distractions and just parts of the human experience we're having on our way. And I think as often as you can get into the headspace, this is what's beautiful about my relationship with you, is like you understand the work that I'm doing. You understand the call on my life. Like you understand what it is that are the desires of my heart. I've had to do that work though. What are the desires of your heart? Like what is it you think God has purposed you for? Like all of these things. And having understand that as the bullseye, like the goal is that I be doing like hitting that bullseye right in the middle, right? And anything else that's coming into my universe that's distracting me or keeping me from being able to do that well is something that has to be let go of. And I think at first sometimes it doesn't look that way. At first something doesn't look like it's a distraction from that. or that it could maybe add to that. Or sometimes you're going through seasons where you can't even see or feel called to the purpose on your life or whatever, and you might just give yourself to distractions, like whatever. It's you have those seasons. I call it a prodigal season, and we've all experienced those too. But I think when you get back and you come back to yourself and you say, okay, I got to get up out this pig pen. Now, I got work to do. I got my purposes going this way, and the goal is right there. Then that means everything else and people around you coming along, I don't care if it's family members, friends, or romantic potential partners, if it takes you away from getting to where you're going, then I think it's something that you have to learn how to let go once you get into that. Otherwise, you can never do what you were purposed to do. And to me, that's been the way that I am able to let go. Doesn't make it easier. Still hurts. You still got to cry. You still got to go down through there. You still got to feel the feelings. You still got to journal and go to therapy and talk about, this is somebody I thought would be in my life forever. And then you have to feel all of that. And just know, as you put one foot in front of the other and another sun rises, that you're going to be okay. And when when the Bible says, like, be still and know,
know that.
My knowing, I got some knowing in me now. I didn't used to.
What the old folks used to say, keep a living.
Just keep on living.
You done lived a little bit.
I done lived a little bit. I'm like,
you done lived a little bit.
Okay.
And you've learned the art of giving yourself grace. You've learned the art of being okay with whatever the day brings, however it makes you feel. You've mastered the art of being able to sit in it, no matter how intense it feels, right? How uncomfortable it feels. Well, during COVID-19, we were all wearing those masks. Eventually, those masks began to break out some people's skin, right? It was very uncomfortable for hours at a time. And so that's how the challenges of our hearts and the things that we're grappling with, those things are uncomfortable. And so when they show up in your life as high blood pressure, diabetes, overeating, indulging, when you have to do all this shopping, you have to think about what are you masking? Like, what's the real core of your issue? What is it that you really don't want to deal with? If everything you do is so performative, trust me, there is something else going on underneath.
Oh, okay, first of all, you're going to stop cussing people out like this, okay?
You're right.
Because they want to go on vacation and shop. And again, the distractions, and whatever is distracting us is keeping us from our purpose. And that's why I'm in this place now where I will ask people, like, you know how we ask the question when you meet people, you say, like, so what do you do? Like, let's say I meet a man and I ask him, what do you do? And he tells me. My next question almost immediately is, do you love it? Do you love what you do? Does it light you up? Like, does it, because without fail, I'm telling you, Dr. Baker, at this point, I need to conduct my own research study. When you meet a person, and in my experience, I'm talking about men because that's who I date still for now, and they don't love what they do, they don't know what their purpose is, they can't tell you what they're called to or what the work is, these people will drag you down.
They're going to drag you. Do you hear me? They're not going to take any accountability for dragging you.
They just hear.
They're going to play the blame game, reverse psychology, and make you feel like it was your fault. I had a client recently who told me, I think it was a friend, I don't even think it was a client. She said she met a guy, and he was like, so how's your mental health?
Uh-oh.
I want to know.
You need to know. He sounds like he's mature. How's your mental health? And what do you do to maintain it?
Are you currently on any medication? Because so many people are taking anxiety medication. How's your mental health?
Do you have a regimen for self-care?
What's your regimen for self-care?
What do you do to care for yourself? These are things you need to know.
How do you take care of you?
Because otherwise, you got to know that the art of letting go has to do with this big piece that I had to deal with, Dr. Baker, that you really helped me with. And one of my best friends is also a therapist. That this idea that we have to sit with feelings that are not happy. Like, we have to learn that our human experience is not always about feeling good, because what people will do when it's to avoid having to go down through the valley of feeling the sadness and the weight and the grief of letting go of things, we will just cling to it and hold on to it and drag it out and get drug all the way through wherever, as opposed to acknowledging there's something I have to let go here. But also, and this is a trauma response from childhood, I read this book too, where we were not safe to express and emote, so we had to put it down. Hey, shut up, get up, be quiet, come do this, go do that. You had to make your emotions stop and cut them off. It's not safe to do all that. You don't have time to go down through there. But now as an adult, when you hold space for this container and say, hey, this is something I have to let go of, and man, that's sad. Like, man, and letting go too means two things. I really want you to hop in here. I have to be willing to understand I'm going to have to go down through and give myself almost the process of grief. I'm going to have to allow that without distracting myself with, well, I'll go out and meet somebody. Well, because it's easy to do that too. Well, I'll just go out, you drop one person, get three, Like, I'll distract myself. I'll go smoking and drinking and carrying on and finagling and just go out here and whatever. And then the second part of that is, and if I decide to let go, I know I'm strong enough to be able to sit with those emotions. And then the second thing is, I don't have to be mean. When it's time to let go, I think the other part that I see that's terrible and that social media celebrates is, I need to block somebody, cut somebody, cuss somebody, pow, I'm letting go. And I'm like, it don't have to be that. Like, I will let somebody go in the gentlest way. Dr. Baker, because we done walked through some let goes. Hey, man, I wish the best for you, and I pray God's best.
Praying for you all day long. Praying for you and speaking nothing but affirmations.
Give me a hug. I mean this hug.
I want the best for you.
I want God's best for you. And it's not me, apparently, because however this happened, but still wanting the best for somebody. And I think those two things have to be discussed more. One, we have the capacity for grief. Life ain't always happy, turned up, and twerking on a yacht. And that doesn't mean that person is terrible, because you and that person are not in alignment in the season, and you have to let them go. And so I think those two things have to be discussed more.
And I think that for many of us who are self-proclaimed Christians or whatever we subscribe to, I think really it goes against what we say we believe and how we trust in God. Because if I really trust in God, really whatever it is that I'm idolizing, that's where I put my trust in, right? So if I'm trusting that,
idolizing,
if I say I'm trusting God, but yet I'm holding on so tight to this marriage, or I'm holding on so tight to this job because these are the things that have defined me for so long, this is what has become my God. And so I think it goes back again, one, to self and how much work and investment we're willing to do internally. Number two, I think that it has a lot to do with your emotional IQ and your willingness to be able to, process what's really going on. Like, emotions, they come full circle. You have the right to be angry. You have the right to be in denial. You have the right to want to blame. You have the right to feel all the feels. You don't get to stay there, but you can go through that. You can vacillate through all of those emotions,
or to project that on somebody else,
project it on somebody. You don't have to blame everybody. You don't have to be victim. You don't have to be the victim of the circumstances. We've just come to the end of the road of whatever the situation is, whether it's the job, a marriage, whatever the family dynamics, whatever it is, we've just reached our end of the road, and we need to be okay with that.
And sometimes so it's for the season.
I just think people need to do their work.
Can it sometimes be seasonal though? Like sometimes
it's seasonal.
Sometimes
it's seasonal. Jakes taught us a long time ago that there's a season, there's a reason. Yes. People come and go. Like,
sometimes you need space for a season. And me and one of my best friends, I remember, like, there was something she was going through, and like I just couldn't. It got to the point where I was like, hey, every time we on the phone, you dump on me, and I have this, and I have this, and I finally had to talk to her about it. And I feel like there was a period where it was like, I need to step back. I had to let go of the fact that, like, being a good friend, I have a box of what that means. I talk to my friends. I'm there for them. I make sure that I do all these things because I'm a good friend, and my name is Stephanie. And then I get to the point where I'm like, hey, I can't do everything for everybody. That's not what friendship is. And in that particular instance, and depending on where I was, like, I just need to step back. And I think letting go for some people, like, we don't have to make a grand declaration of finality. That now me and that person, fast forward, she was going through what she was going through. We're all having a human experience. She needed to be able to go down through there. That's where she was. And I can't go down through there. You can't go everywhere. But I can be here to say, hey, friend, I love you. I'm praying for you. Like, and this is what I had a capacity for right now. And when you need more than that, I'm not going to be able to do that right now. Like, I can't. And then there was another season where we got right back on track. We talked, we picked back up, we whatever. And I think those are also, I see that now that I've been living long enough, Dr. Baker, that you and me and you have been in this work long enough to where it's like, hey, I had to really release that, grieve the loss of it and what I thought it could be, and with like multiple relationships in my life, and then to get to the point to where I stand up and like after I'm done snotting and crying and be like, I stand back up like, I'm all right.
Oh, I made it. I'm all right. I made it. I made it.
Look at
I'm
me.
gonna live.
I'm
You
perfectly
don't have to
fine.
be like Tony Braxton. You don't need to not be able to breathe again if
I'm
it
breathing
don't work.
again. And then
Listen,
even in that,
I want you to subscribe to that.
and then having that those relationships a lot of times circle back in another season, but a healthier version where people know this is the boundary, this is what you're not gonna do, this is what I'm not gonna do, and now we can have an authentic experience. Because even when people's parents, like you'll hear people talk about, well, my mama do this and that, and I know if I go over here and this and that, and she go, and my mom or my dad, or I know I can't, and they just suffer through being abused, whether it's verbally or like whatever, because of whatever the relationship is. And it's like, no, when you're grown, like we don't have to, hey, this is something I'm not going to discuss with you. It's off limits for us. And so like, and that's okay. And it
needs to be no respect of person. Like if I'm not putting up with it from somebody off the street, I'm sure not putting up with it from somebody that's in my bloodline. And that's okay too. But again, Dr. Boyce, we have not been taught these things. And so a lot of this is foreign to us. We see people talking about it on social media. It's one thing to talk about it, and it's another thing to live through it. And most people don't even know that they have the capacity to be able to let go and to live. Like there is life after you let go. There is life after divorce. There is life after bankruptcy. There is life after a job lets you go. There is life after, a loved one dies. There is life. You have to make a decision, a conscious decision to decide to what degree you want to live and what level of healthy, how healthy you want to be while you're on your journey to living. You have to redefine what that looks like for you individually and collectively. And we've just become accustomed to taking care of our partners, being the best that we could be, high functioning on these jobs, taking care of our children. And now we're at an age where we're taking care of our aging parents, right? And so when you think about all the tasks in the world and everything on your to-do list, when do you really have time to make the time for you? You have to make the time, because if you don't, time will make itself once you end up hospitalized or once you're dead and gone.
I love that life goes on. Life goes on after you surrender. And I think to your point, as we conclude, I feel like that's a conversation about abundance versus scarcity mindset. If all I can see is like what's right in front of me, that scarcity mindset says, hold on to everything, fight for what you got, hold it, keep it. It can't just hold it, keep it, whatever you got, whatever you see. Like don't get up, don't give them nothing. But abundance says, well, quite surely, if I open my hand and something fly out, it wasn't for me. And then whatever else comes in, like you said, when making room, when you're cleaning your closet or your refrigerator or whatever, like when I say the laws of reciprocity, you're going to reap what you sow. And if you're letting people go or surrendering situations, whether it has been jobs or people, relationships with people or whatever, like if I look at a situation, I always feel confident that I can say, I did the best that I could do in that situation. I treated somebody the way that I wanted to be treated. I was respectful, or I was loyal, or I was like whatever else I would have wanted. And then when I let go, and that's why I don't have to be mad. Because
I ain't gotta be mad.
I ain't gotta get my lick back. I ain't gotta do none of that, because I want to make sure I'm always in a situation where abundance is this idea where you said about faith.
Position of win.
As people of faith, I gotta know that the Bible tells me that the God I serve is able to do exceedingly and abundantly and above all that I can even ask, think, or imagine. And I can imagine some stuff. If I could tell you what I can imagine for my life, and he could do more than that, then it's like, if whatever I see in front of me that I want to grapple and hold on to, I'm like, God, please don't take away I remember when I lost, and I'm gonna say this as my last point, and I'll let you share on the close out, that I remember last year. So I've been divorced for like 3 years now, but last year was when the family home, when we actually sold it and we had to do the whole thing. And I remember going to do the final walk, and my realtor happens to be my sister. And I just remember by the time I did my final walk and I got back to the kitchen, because y'all, this house, I had handpicked this little house. It was a corner lot, my bathtub. My bathtub was up there, like my trees. I had like big majestic trees. It was a corner lot, like all of these things
Majestic.
and I just got in it. By the time I made it back to the kitchen, and I just wept. I was just in the kitchen, I was just crying, and because that was my last property that I had sold. I was like we had sold, and I was telling her, I said, I lost everything. I just kept saying, I lost everything. She just kept saying, and it's even more than that. And it's even more than that. And I just like, this is why it's so important to have good, like, strong people around you that are faith-minded and like-minded with you, because when you can't see the forest from the trees, you need people around you. I have my therapist. I have my strong friend group. I have even my loctician. I swear she be praying on my head when she do my hair. Like, these people around me, then when I say hold up my arms, when I'm I'm going down. Been like, no, you up, sis. I'm like, but I'm going down. They're like, no,
pull it together.
You up.
Pull it together. It's not over.
So it's been beautiful, but it's that faith piece that even when yours is lacking, I feel like I can get a little bit of yours, I can get a little bit of theirs, and then when I'm back on my own 2 feet, now somebody needs some of mine. I can give them a little bit of mine, and that's this cycle.
And get you some people that's going to check in on you. I had somebody call me the other day because I took a semester sabbatical. I walked out on everybody this year. I even quit my own prayer line because I didn't have the capacity to carry them in prayer no more. And so one of my mom friends from the dance school, she said, "What?" She called me. She said, "Where have you been?"
Look.
She said, "You've been called. You haven't checked. You supposed to pray for me." And I said, "Girl, I've been over here under a rock fighting for my life." And so when you stand in that light and people are accustomed to you being that person,
that's good.
People don't even think you're drowning when you screaming for help.
That's a whole nother podcast episode. How to know when the strong friend is drowning. Coming soon.
In order to be screaming, you got to let go of being strong, right? You got to let go of being strong and be willing to be like, hey, I'm drowning. Hey, I told y'all I was drowning. I told y'all I had maxed out on my capacity
Dr.
and
Baker.
I'm exhausted. And so, but you got to be willing to be transparent and honest and vulnerable.
Okay, say that again. In order to, you got to surrender the need to be the strong person.
Strong person.
And I think sometimes you're not even trying to be
that facade.
Sometimes you're not even trying. You just been fighting for your life for so long. It's just you get it how you can. And for me, I've had to learn to find art. Coach Anwar is a dating coach online, and I remember him explaining to his viewers when he works specifically with Black and brown women. And he said specifically one day, he was like, Black women have to learn how to articulate what you are feeling, like, and use terms that other groups of people are used to using. Like, I am feeling overwhelmed. And you would have thought he said something that was rocket science to me with my little old PhD over here. And I said, so I remember not even too long after that, I told somebody I was dealing with, I said, that really left me feeling, what did I say? I said, disappointed and sad. I said, that really made me feel disappointed and sad. And like, I had not been into a space where like, I'm going to communicate. I'm feeling overwhelmed. But now, I'm really good, Dr. Baker. Like, I'm really good at being like, hold on, not just how I'm feeling, but like, let me communicate that in a moment, because I don't have to carry that by myself. But if you're accustomed to it, it's not even that you're trying. It's just that that's how it's been. You just have to go and keep going. But now
it's your pathology.
I'm just overwhelmed. I just need help. I can't.
I'm tired. I tapped out. I quit everything this year. And releasing it all, letting go of it all was by far one of the best things that I could do. Now, will I re-up? The world, nobody died. Everybody's still alive. Like, everybody's still alive. Everybody's still figuring it out. And my load is lighter. I'm not carrying the things that I was carrying because I had an image to uphold. I don't have it.
Yeah.
And when I can plug back in, when I can refill my cup and I'm refreshed and I'm ready to hit the reset button, I'll be able to do that. So even the strongest of strong, need those moments to recharge and refuel. And then to be honest, again, if you've taken nothing away from the words that I've shared on today, let it be that you really do need to tap into the space where you can be as transparent and as honest with yourself as well as with others.
Yeah.
So that you can release what needs to be released, so that you're not walking around emotionally constipated, backed up, and, exploding on the inside, dying on the inside, being a public success and a private failure. You don't have to live that life. You get to make choices.
Oh, that sounds like a good way to end. I'm just going to say, though, to your point, Dr. Baker, that you just made about how you stepped away from all of these things and all of this other stuff, that what you did not do was step away from your purpose work. I still see you monthly. I would have never known whatever meltdowns, whatever else you got going on. I feel like it did not keep you from doing your purpose work. And when you have preserved that space, I think you can have your joy. And like for me, a part of my joy, and especially going through things, is that I can share my journey. That came in the way of this podcast. Is going to come in the way of the book that I'm writing related to this season of my life and how to rebuild after divorce. But all of that, I think when you center the purpose work, whatever else is happening outside of here, it's like, oh man, well, I wasn't, oh man.
In the cosmos.
But this has to be preserved, and my joy is preserved. And when I'm doing this thing, I know I'm being used for his glory. The way it feels me from the inside out, the way I feel after I have an exchange. In my business, I speak to teachers. I do workshops. I could do a 4-hour workshop, Dr. Baker. I'm talking about on my feet in heels, walking around and facilitating activities. And when I get done, I will be physically exhausted, but I know my spirit is affirmed that I have been doing God's work when I get done. And then I just feel sad. It is will in my soul, but my body be tired. My throat be raw. But I'll be like, yes, this is it. And everything else, it's good if it's good. But if it's not, surrender is the name of the game.
Surrender.
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
Surrender.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Dr. Baker. That was good. I hope that my prayer is that it has been a blessing to someone who has been trying to figure out if they should let go, if they should hold on, and if it's time to let go, how they should do it. And so I thank you so much. And if the people want to find you, book a consultation to start figuring out some therapies because they need to, and I be encouraged. Come on now. Y'all where can they find you?
You can find me at www.bernada, BernadaBaker.com. And you can find me on social media somewhere at Dr. Bernada Nicole. I am opening my books right now for the fourth quarter for new clients. And so give me a call. Let's see if we can do some work together. It'll be one of the best investments you've ever made in yourself.
And should. Because we going whatever we would spend to go to therapy, we would have been ate it at one brunch. Okay.
Ice cream
with bottomless mimosas. Okay. So sit down on a brunch day and then head on to therapy on the Monday. Okay. So thank you so much. Now, I have also attached your contact information in the show notes for anybody that needs it so that they can find you. And I thank y'all so much for joining us today. Our prayer for you is that wherever you are in your journey of letting go, that you learn the fine art of doing it and that you have your inner peace preserved. Until next time, I'm Dr. B. Namaste, y'all. Woo! Well, that's a wrap on today's episode of Namaste, y'all podcast. If this conversation moved you, inspired you, or simply made you exhale, do me a favor and subscribe, rate, and leave a review. That's how we grow the space and help more folks find their way to this sanctuary of self-love. And just so you know, this ain't just a podcast, it's a movement. So stay connected. Go over to our Instagram page at Namaste Y'all Podcast for updates, behind the scenes, and upcoming events. Take a deep breath, choose yourself, and know this: you are worthy of a life that feels like love. Until next time, namaste, y'all.